Hello, and welcome to the last FPL video for the preseason. We are going into Gameweek 1 today, and it's going to be exciting. I'm here today to provide some last-minute tips, deadline tips you can call them, what to look out for, how to be prepared for any situations, what to be careful about, and yeah, overall a great experience to have today. As well, Brachetka, one of my OG viewers, has prepared some statistics about other content creators' drafts, and he provided me with the drafts and with the numbers, so I'm going to present them to you. After I explain what I think about that game week, I'm going to talk about the captain, so a lot of things are going to happen today. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, help me reach that 1300 goal. I'm 29 away at the time of recording, so please make it possible. Now, let's start with my draft. As you can see, it hasn't changed since the last time. It's Henderson and Tiversen in goal, Pau Torres, Barco, Robinson, Eina, and Pedro Porro in defense, Smith Rowe, Eze, Jota, Salah, and Sangare in midfield, Havertz, Haaland, and Isaac wrap up the forward line. So now, interesting topics to talk about. First of all, I want to mention how highly owned currently Barco is. He's almost 30%, 23%, sorry. So that means that if he does not perform and if something happens to him, like he's benched or he's rotated or something like that, we're going to lose some price points there. But the good thing is, with the Stupinian's injury record, there is a high chance Barco becomes an option quite soon after that. So if you not sell him and keep using him, he will be not losing a value. You only lose a value if you sell him at lower than you bought him. But if you keep him for a longer time, it can be providing good. He is on set pieces for Game Week 1, so that's a good thing. He faces Everton, so I'm more than happy to start with him. After that, United and Arsenal, not the most amazing fixtures, but 2 home fixtures after that. If he plays, an amazing option. The 4.0 keeper, be careful with some keepers, as if you're going for someone like Fabianski. I don't want midfielders, I want top players. So Fabianski, who is 13% owned, if something happens and another 4.0 emerges, a lot of people are going to offload from Fabianski, and you're going to then lose some value in it if you want to catch them up. If you are playing with only one keeper, as already explained, you are not losing any price points. The same can be said about the 4.5 midfielder or forward that you're going for. If you're not relying on them, go with someone with lower numbers, like 2% for Sangare is a perfect example compared to Harry Winks' 13.2. If someone decides to move from 4 in midfield to 5 in midfield, they're going to say their 4.5 option, and they're selling Winks, Sangare, Bergvall, or whoever the hell we want there. So yeah, I would be careful. I would go for someone like Sangare, who is playing and low percentage ownership. Lavia is another option. He's taking a Chelsea spot, but it's not such a big issue there, as I don't see anyone going with a triple Chelsea to start the season, at least until the first wild card happens. Elsewhere, we've had a lot of bad news for Manchester City's Oscar Bob. He may have broken his foot and he's going to miss a lot of time. So they are in the market for another player, and the player that has been heavily linked with a move to Manchester City is Eberechi Eze. If he goes there, he immediately becomes a non-existent option in my opinion. He will face Doku, Gordon, and Foden for that left wing to a cam spot. So basically, it's an identical player to Jack Grealish. I really think Jack Grealish at Villa was doing the same as Eze is doing in Crystal Palace right now. So if he goes there, they are going to be competing for the same spot. There is Makachi. I know that he is going to be given some time. I believe they should be looking for another forward, as it's only Haaland currently. They're in the market for Mubama from West Ham. If I'm not mistaken, was it his name? So Mubama, is it here? No, he's not in the game anymore. So yeah, he will be having some interesting competition in that. If they sign him, yeah, Mubama, he's not even in the game currently. So yeah, if they sign him, he might be their second striker option, but I think that's risky. I believe they're going to go for someone a little bit unknown and maybe go for it, but not go for maybe false 9. I don't know how, but with Haaland formation, they will want to have another striker to replace him. So it's interesting to see, to say the least. But let's not get into Manchester City's business. If they go for Eze, you need to have a solution for it. My solution is pretty simple. If Eze is gone, I need to get another penalty taker, and that penalty taker is going to be Saka. Immediately Saka is going to enter the draft. Then with 12.5, I can quickly get players like, let's say, Bailey here. If he is okay to start, and I believe that he's an option, and here I will be going for Chris Wood. But yeah, Wood is a little bit difficult now because I have players playing there. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's hope that Saka is not needed in our draft, and let's hope that maybe we will need to go for someone like Rogers instead of Smith Rowe, maybe take Muniz into the lineup, and then a lot of changes will happen. I know for sure that Salah, Haaland, and Isaac are not going anywhere, bar some press conferences news if there are some injuries and some worry over that. I wouldn't guess that that's going to be the case, but still I would quite consider switching several players around just to fill in Saka and more players. Maybe Son is even an option, as they can offload him for someone else. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, maybe Son for, let's see, I will need Son, and I will need to play with two 5 million players. It's hard. Let's hope that as it stays, as I quite like that price range. Bowen is an option, and Bumu is an option always that can be directly replaced for him. So you have possibilities. Let's hope we do not get to them. Elsewhere around my draft, I feel pretty confident. I feel quite, yeah, as I mentioned, confident. The only differences between mine and a lot of other people's drafts is the Arsenal defender. I'm not owning any of them because I don't have the budget. So far, I will be aiming for one in the number game week 6. After the Manchester City fixture, they can get several clean sheets before then. But yeah, I'm not willing to go there as of yet. Pau, Robinson, Eina can rotate perfectly fine with Poro and Barco if it's needed. Let's see if Barco plays longer because Karioglu, I believe, is called the guy, is going to be joining Brighton. I think he's for the right back spot, but you never know with the manager and how he decides to play. But I have a feeling that Barco is starting. So if you have him and you want to play him, go for him. Okay, now captain options. I believe that there are 5 probable captain options. First of all, I'm going to talk about Isaac. Fixture against Southampton, 21 goals last season from 27 starts. That's a good number. So 25 attacking returns, most of them have been at home. He's pretty close to that expected goal ratio, maybe expected assists, some penalties included or something like that. So yeah, 21 goals here, maybe a penalty miss. Yeah, one penalty miss. So he could have scored another goal. So yeah, pretty good overall. I believe that whatever he gets into a chance, he provides it. He's not someone that is creating chances for himself extra and creating goals from out of nowhere. But if there is a chance, he will take it. A solid captain option. I believe a lot of people that are going without Mohamed Salah will have him as captain options. I wouldn't honestly recommend it as a must or a go for it, but still quite a probable option. If you go to want solid and want to just choose the 12.5 that you've spent on Salah, I would not look further away. Only 18 goals last season, but 12 assists. He was a little bit underperforming in the goals department, but got some good expected assists. I believe now with Arne Slot, they will play an exciting football. We don't know how it's going to look, that football, but still I feel like those 33% 0.8 are quite low. For Mo Salah, for Ipswich and Brentford first 2 fixtures, he's a very good captain option in those 2 games. Yeah, there is a better one in game week 2, but for game week 1 I feel quite confident that you can go and get some amazing results with Mohamed Salah, so he is my second captaincy option. Going into my third captain option in the team, that is Erling Haaland. Even though it's Chelsea away, 27 goals, pretty good number. He was expected to score more last season compared to the first one, but the first one he was just a different breed. I believe with a full rest this summer and with the proper tactics around, I believe that if he remains fit and he does not miss 9 games, he will score even more. So yeah, that's my taking. Haaland, a very, very good option. Another captaincy option, of course, is Heung-min Son. I wouldn't look past him. Leicester away from home, he enjoys scoring against Leicester. He has been so consistent since 16-17 season. He has been scoring more than 10 goals, especially in 21-22 when he had a perfect partnership with Harry Kane. He was doing bits. That was his highest goal scoring season. Now with Solanke, I believe that he can repeat that and he can link up pretty well with him. We need to see how they do, but for the start, I would be picking Son over Solanke. To be fair, I believe he's the better fit and the better captaincy option overall. And there is a very differential captaincy option that not a lot of people are aiming to go for, and that is if I go to all players and pick Alexander Arnold, for me he's a great differential captaincy option. Yeah, he's 28% on, so he's going to hurt my rank if he delivers. But still, I believe that with such expected numbers like 2 goals and 12 assists, 4 goals and 15 assists, I expect something similar. That's what got him to the legendary status of the game, and I believe he will be aiming to do that. I don't know if they are going to keep so many clean sheets, but the attacking returns are going to be there for the start. If you're spending that 7 million, maybe that's a quite differential pick. If we go through all players and we sort them by team selected by, we're going to see the most popular keeper option is Raya at 12.25%. I'm quite surprised. I don't like him so much as an option, but you never know. Stay away from Turner. Don't pick him. They bought a new keeper. They have still been using sales, so he's a third option right now. So 20%, you're going to lose money no matter what. In defense, I see that Saliba is at the top of the chart. I'm surprised that Gabriel is so low at only 13%. I was expecting more of a 50-50 split, but yeah, Saliba is the clear favorite there. So be careful if you're not owning Saliba. That's a self-advice. He might hurt me. But if they don't do well, he might drop in price and I might be able to get him. Pedro Porro, I own him. He, for me, is the most attacking defender for the price that you're paying. So he's a very, very solid option. Gvardiol, 34% once again. Really, really solid option. Trent, I've discussed. Andersen, Burn. Be careful with Burn. Be careful with Trippier, as we don't know if they are going to be nailed. Be careful with Harwood Bellis, as they are going to concede a lot of goals. Be careful with Gay. He might be leaving for Newcastle. You never know. And if that happens, we don't know how he's going to adapt to the style there. So be careful there. Dawot is a guy that I would recommend being careful about. And I'm pretty surprised that Munoz is only 4.2% owned. I believe that's because Henderson is the most popular keeper at the 4.5 range. And he's going to be getting the minutes. From the midfield perspective, the most owned players is Palmer, which is heavily surprising for me, most probably because he was the top scorer from last season. This time around, he's there. I would be quite hesitant to go there, but Palmer can score against anyone and he can do amazingly well. So I might immediately regret not owning him and will be wanting to get him. So for those of you starting with him, maybe he will turn out pretty good. Eze and Salah, as mentioned, be careful with Eze as he might be joining City, and then he is not such an amazing option. Saka and Gordon, amazing options. Foden, he might not be starting game week 1, he might be immediately right into the squad. I would be careful, at least for game week 1, until we see how he plays and how City line up. Fernandez, good option. And Nkunku, okay option. The most owned 6.5. Garnacho is heavily owned. Smith Rowe now is rising in popularity because he's one of the marquee transfers of the Premier League. Elsewhere, Luis Diaz is highly owned. Rodgers is owned. Bowen, De Bruyne, Rodri, be careful. He might not be starting game week 1. So several things to consider there. And from the forwards perspective, the most two owned guys are Isaac and Haaland. Isaac is currently the most owned player, and for me he is quite low at 58%. I would have expected way more from the ownership. Haaland reached almost 50%. When we started building our drafts, he was around 27. Now he almost doubled in that. I believe the guys that are not going without are going without him. It's going to be quite tough for them to manage to fit him in, but still an option. Solanke has risen in popularity massively. Be careful with Watkins and Joao Pedro, as we don't know what to expect from the manager and from the team. The same goes to Tony and Mateta. Mateta has been seen in a training kit, but still I'm quite hesitant there to go as of yet. Fraser, don't go for him. He is the most owned attacker. I don't see him playing with Cunha and Warsen there, so I would more comfortably go for Jebison as he is only 1.4. Elsewhere, Havertz is okay owned. I own him, so I quite like him. Muniz is an option. Chris Wood is quite low. Combined, they've got only 12% into everyone's draft, so that's a quite low number, but we'll see later. Gakpo and Darwin are quite an avoid for me. Now, with all that being said, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them. I will be answering up until the deadline happens. Now, moving into the content creators draft. Those are 50 content creators, including me, but there are some quite interesting numbers. The most owned keeper currently from the content creators is Henderson. Fabianski and Raya are splitting the numbers. I was quite surprised with Turner. 6 people are going for Turner, content creators. I'm not going to name who is doing what and else, because I don't want to just mention by name, but Turner was quite surprising at 6. Bentley at 7, Vaudimarson at 7, Iversen only on 2, and that's me, one of them. Vicario is quite low owned, Pope is quite low owned, Flecken is 5 only when he was one of the most popular options, but yeah, Fabianski, Henderson and Raya got the most owns, and Vaudimarson as the cheapest after Fabianski. Going into defense, here we have the most differential things selected. Poro owned, Trent 22 people, Barco 29 people, Guardio 27. They were quite high owned. Munoz only 6, Kwanzaa 8 throughout the research. Bellis 14, quite highly owned, but not as like Barco 29. This is a FPL content creators pick. Barco the most pick defender into their drafts. Mikulenko 14 is quite high. Robinson 14 as well. So Mikulenko and Robinson are pretty good options. Saliba 12. So it's a pretty high option in the department. But we have defenders like Burgess, Akanji, Brentwaite even got in. Tuanzabe is in. Gay is selected by one person. I was quite surprised. Burn 8. Gabriel 4 only, which was also very surprising. Have in mind, those are not their team selections. Those are their drafts after the latest friendly. So maybe a lot of things have changed, but still quite surprising information. Going into midfield, without a doubt, the most owned player is Eze. 35 people are going with Eze. That's quite a big number, and I believe that this is going to go lower as people are going to be more afraid of him being being transferred to City, but we'll see. Salah 30, Saka 19, Son 9, so almost in the double digit. Bruno Fernandes is 11, Winks is 12, like he's pretty high. Jota is 15 already, Gordon is 18, so he's pretty popular. Yarmolenko is a pretty interesting pick to go for. Somerville already picked, Carvalho picked. As a Brentford player, Kulusevski is down to only 1 and Johnson only down to 1. So from them being one of the most popular 6.5 midfielders, they're in 2 drafts overall. Luis Diaz is quite low owned 1 compared to Diogo Jota, who is in 15. Brenton Diaz makes an appearance. Odegaard versus Bruno is heavily owned by Bruno. Elsewhere, Bob 9, I believe that's changing for sure. As with Bob, stay away from him. And if you want a 5-0 option to be more nailed, go for Rodgers from Villa. So yeah, quite interesting in midfield. And at the end, the forward lineup, Haaland 37, but not close to Isaac, who is at 43. I was quite surprised that Haaland is more owned than the most owned defender and the most owned midfielder, like heavily owned. And the third place here goes to Solanke with 20 people. Muniz and Havertz not breaking the 10. Joao Pedro just barely breaking the 10. Stewart at 4, surprising. Armstrong through to Muniz versus Wood is pretty 50-50. Watkins on 5. Jebison is quite low owned, but I believe a lot of them have changed them. So yeah, Welbeck is even selected. That was surprising for me. Player like Ivan Toney is only once selected, like Welbeck. No one is owning Darwin or Gakpo, which is understandable. Fulkrug, I don't think he made any of the list, yes, so far. So yeah, quite interesting. And here is how the content creators draft template looks. Haaland, Isaac, Suwanke, and Salah makes the list. Eze, Nkunku, Smith Rowe, pretty solid draft. Poro, Mikulenko, Gvardio, Henderson. So if you're looking for a content creators template draft, this is how it looks. I believe it's pretty solid. It's rumored to get 53 points by the week with Salah captain, which is not that bad. I believe if you start Barco over maybe Mikulenko, you can rise a little bit. You have the rotation options, you have everything. This was pretty close to one of my drafts during preseason, but yeah, I quite changed since then. But yeah, pretty solid draft. If you're looking for a solid template, that's it, guys. This, you start with it and you'll be always moving in the middle. And if you continue doing that, I will try to keep that statistic and keep improving. I will be then posting seeing the drafts that have been in game week 1. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if I'm going to implement that always into the deadline tips. So yeah, be prepared. I'll be preparing more content. This is my draft. If you want to see my game week 1 team, Salah is my captain, Henderson, Barco, Pedro, Porro, and Taina. The bad thing is here is 3 away games, but on my bench is 3 away more. Jota, Smith Rowe, Salah, and Teze, way more away games, so I'm starting game week 1 with a lot of away games, while Southampton and Havertz against Wolves are at home. So I have 3 home fixtures and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. So 6 away fixtures. Not too good to say the least, but then game week 2 is amazing, so I'm not preparing only for one game week. It's not going to look like that, but still quite an amazing draft if you ask me. Better home options, maybe Saka is good to implement, and elsewhere for the fixtures, Manchester United Fulham I predict 1-1 game, Ipswich Liverpool 0-3, Arsenal Wolves 4-0, Everton Brighton 0-0 to be fair, Newcastle Southampton 3-0, Forest Bournemouth 1-1, West Ham Aston Villa 1-1, Brentford Palace 0-1, Chelsea Manchester City 0-2, and Leicester Spurs. So there aren't a lot of preferable home fixtures, maybe Newcastle and Arsenal more, but still I wouldn't be willing to change anything into my draft if everyone stays put and is not rumored injured. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Come to the deadline stream. It's starting around 4:30 p.m. UK time. So be here. We'll be discussing drafts. I will be giving advices. We'll be monitoring news. We'll be doing all that. You'll be giving me some leaks. I will try to find some. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting process. Once again, if you can help me reach those 1300 subscribers, make it possible until game week 1 starts. I'm so close, 29. It's not that far. Maybe they're even less by the time you're watching. So join, prepare, join the mini league. The link is in the description. There is a price at the end, so always good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. And I will see you soon on the deadline stream. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.